one thing that excites you about AI?
The retail commerce industry is a very rich, area of opportunities for AI to really, make an impact on consumers, which includes the seller ecosystem.
Any advice that you see which is, that other industry can learn from retail?
Look, retail, search is extremely personalized now through conversational commerce. Recommendations is automatic because we learn through AI models. The ability to have multimodal conversations, it's not only text, it's also voice. Or I can take a picture of this cup and say, I want to buy something like this.
They get used to a particular app and then they don't want to change it now because they know how to navigate through it.
That's a consumer behavior that AI can actually change, right? I mean, that's also the in for new age companies to come in and basically disrupt the market.
How much percentage is AI taking decisions and how much is human judgment?
The objectionability of the content is still subjective and depends upon your model. So we have humans in the loop to actually look for it. So we don't want bad content or content that is objectionable to the broader diaspora to be in there.
That entire shift from the shopkeeper who knew your name to a system that knows your browsing history has been built quietly on artificial intelligence. Today, the person responsible for the technology behind one of India's largest e-commerce platforms is here to take us inside that machine. This is TOI AIQ Talks. I'm Sonia Singh and you're watching TOI AIQ Talks. Indian retail has changed more in the last decade than it did in the previous 50 years. And most of that change has happened inside systems most shoppers never see. Recommendation engines, demand forecasting, dynamic pricing, supply chains that move faster than the trucks carrying the goods. The person who builds and runs that machinery at one of India's largest e-commerce companies is with us today. He is the Chief Product and Technology Officer at Flipkart, which means if you have ever wondered how the platform seems to know what you want before you do, he is one of the people who built that. Balaji Thiagarajan, welcome to TOI AIQ Talks.
Thank you, Sonia.
And alongside us today, co-founder and CEO of ADROSONIC, Mayank. Welcome, Mayank.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you.
Balaji, let's start with you. If you compare banking, manufacturing, and retail, would you say retail is most visibly transformed by technology?
I would say today, yes. When it started, it seemed like banking was the one that was going to lead the way. And banking really started, embracing digital in a very, very meaningful way. Retail was a fast follower, but the use cases in retail, the different opportunities for customers to use retail in multiple different ways, is where retail really started taking on a much bigger role. And today, I would say, very easily, the retail is actually leading digital transformation, technology transformation, and also eventually, pervasive intelligence in everything that we do.
And did e-commerce transform Indian customers? Of course, because preparing them for a broader transition to maybe digital adoption and maybe even for government websites and all. And, payment was a big thing because, the issue was only if you want to buy something, how do you pay?
Yeah, first, I think the government of India has done a fantastic job, right, of actually adopting and embracing technology in a very meaningful way. UPI, Aadhaar, railway reservation systems, helping banks to get digitized, promoting that culture of investment. And, when all these, there is an ecosystem that has to come together, right, for retail to happen. It's the network infrastructure, it is the mobile infrastructure, it is the payment systems, it is the banking system, and of course, it is the mobile market around affordability. And India generally as an economy also has grown, and our GDP is now at 2,800 USD per capita person. All these things have helped. So it's not one or two, it's a combination of things that have just come together in a very meaningful way. And specifically in the last 10 years, as you see the ecosystem really starting to adopt from an infrastructure perspective, we have also grown. We took on 5G, we leapfrog from landlines to mobiles, we have taken on the cloud infrastructure. And now I think what retail is doing is it's not only kind of leading the way, it's also kind of making sure that we continue to push the envelope forward.
But if we talk about AI, how is the arrival of AI changing retail business especially? And in Flipkart, what is changing now with AI?
See, I think with AI, what is happening is AI is really enabling consumers to experience the product in a way that they would want it to be experienced in a personal way. So, personalization is a very big thing. So, for example, at Flipkart, we talk about n equal to 1 personalization. That means every single Flipkart customer who comes to Flipkart, we can personalize the product for them specifically. For example, if Sonia is coming to Flipkart, and if you have been with us as a Flipkart customer for a while, and we know that you are interested in fashion accessories, or you're interested in electronics, or what have you, and you're interested in branded, categories. We know that you have,
certain taste.
you have certain tastes. So the consumer behavior, what we call a consumer profile system that we developed, knows every customer based on what they did with us. And based on that, we are able to personalize all the things that we show you automatically. And that's where AI comes in. What AI knows is who you are, what you have done before, and then our models predict what you might want to see, and based on that, we show you this thing automatically.
So on a lighter note, AI knows my previous orders, and AI knows what I'm doing on Instagram. AI also knows what I'm browsing on the other places. Yeah.
Look, the thing is, it has to be done responsibly.
Yeah.
But the data is out there. Once you start using the internet, you leave a stamp, right? You leave a digital stamp, and if the data is available, and if it's used responsibly, it actually is magical.
Yeah, and just to building on what you asked about that, whether retail is leading. I think retail is now leading the entire industry with AI coming in, because it is directly interacting with the customers, and it has overall transformed the way consumer behavior acts now. It's more about getting it instant personalization, and that is impacting other industries as well. Being it, because I as a consumer, I am now expecting the same from banking, or when I am interacting in insurance, or I'm going and interacting in healthcare. So overall, with this AI transformation, what Balaji was saying about that, or you mentioned about that banking leading and other were following, now retail is showing all the other industry which way to go, because it is transforming the way consumer thinks now. So all industries are now have to change their approach, or innovate in a way, or use AI in a way that they are giving that personalized experience to their customers.
Yeah, so AI is also helping in faster deliveries, or maybe accurate deliveries. Is that where AI is coming in? If we talk about behind the scenes, what's happening with your goods management, your distribution, all that?
Absolutely, on both sides, right? It's helping in accuracy. It's also helping on speed. In fact, speed is one of our highest company priorities. So when we talk about our overall company priorities, or what we call OKRs, objectives and key results, speed is one of them. And why is speed important? Because it's important for customers to be gratified on the things that they buy from us in a time frame that they expect, right? So gone are the days when you buy something and have to wait for 15 days. But how do you make it happen in a day? How do you make it happen in an hour? How do you make it happen in 10 minutes? For example, I do not know about all the other apps and service providers in India. At Flipkart today, for large electronics, we have what is called DNI, delivery and installation, in 2 hours. So you can actually buy an air conditioner, and it can be delivered and installed in your house in 2 hours. And by the way, we also have an installation company called Jeeves that is fully owned and operated by Flipkart. So they will also come and do the uninstall for you and the install for you. And where AI comes in is, we prepare for it before time by understanding what is the environment that we are going to operate in, what does the house look like, or what is the position of the AC going to be installed, and based on that we get recommendations what we need to do ahead of time to get prepared for it. On the speed aspects of it, the way we are working on speed in terms of delivery is demand forecasting. Right? We forecast demand very accurately. We operate across all of India. So we serve 22,000 plus pin codes, which is pretty much mapped every nook and cranny of India. And we also, because we are the largest logistics company that we own and operate called eCart in India, we also have a good experience on understanding what it takes to deliver. So based on that, we can estimate accurately because we have the experience of doing it. We know how the roads work, how the network works. And in terms of demand forecasting, we know how to place our inventory at the right places in terms of where the demand is coming from. And, the closer the inventory is to you, the faster you get it.
So, can you tell our viewers, like Flipkart Minutes, how does it actually happen? I put things in my cart, I make the payment, and maybe 5 minutes later, I have a doorbell ringing and my stuff is there. I mean, how does it work?
See, this is, it starts with intelligence of knowing, where the demand is in the ecosystem. So demand forecasting models in AI is very, very important. Number two, we also have to know how to position ourselves in a way where we are able to serve you within 9 minutes is what we usually say. And for that, we have mapped the country into polygons, the complete country into polygons. And for each one of these geo-fenced areas, we have a very good idea about the demographics, the population density, the kind of things that we buy, because Flipkart has been in business for a while. And we know what that area and the demography and the diaspora of folks want to buy. Based on that, we do demand forecasting and we do what is called assortment modeling. So each store, today we have 1,000 stores. We just opened 1,000 store in Gorakhpur just about last week, and we are still, thank you so much, and we are still growing. Each store through AI can have the capability to customize its assortment for that specific area. Like for example, if I'm in Bengal versus if I'm in Uttar Pradesh or in a specific city, I would know that my assortment is going to be different because of the needs of that particular area and what folks buy there, rather than just putting the same assortment everywhere. That doesn't work. And when you have that, then you never run out of inventory. And then we have, our delivery wishmasters, right? Who work with us very closely. So we have, based on the demand of that area, in addition to assortment modeling and of course the app that needs to work in terms of search, we also have to think about capacity and delivery, the physical AI pieces of it, right? So, what is the capacity? How do you manage the workforce for it? How do you incentivize them to work with us and then go from there? So it's a multi-pronged strategy, and it's working really well.
And you were in US for a long time. If you compare this 5-minute, 9-minute delivery with the US, I think India is way ahead.
India is way ahead for multiple reasons. One is the economics works because of the population density. The physics of distance in India is really advantageous.
And labor is probably.
And labor, of course, there are more people. We don't take labor for granted, right? Because as the economy grows and everybody wants to do different things, but the way we think about this is, where is the market demand? How do we supply for that market? How do we kind of meet that market demands in a way that actually satisfies our customers, and then we go from there.
So Balaji, one thing, like when we work with multiple firms or industries, we have seen that in this AI terms, creating a model is pretty simple. But when you start using those AI model, like a lot of things where Flipkart is using AI, and considering the scale, the speed where you have to judge what model is predicting, trust becomes a very key aspect into that. So my question to you is that at the industry where you are operating, where everything needs to be instant, how do you decide on whether you are completely relying on AI, or is it more like you have the human loop in place? So how that trust between where to trust AI and where the human should intervene, how you have created that balance in an industry which is almost instant?
Yeah. See, the instant is the output of a lot of work that has gone in before it becomes instant. Right? Just like, when you look at Japanese auto manufacturing history, just in time happened only after you set up the factory line and, the whole setup actually started working. Eventually, the widgets started coming out quickly. Similarly with AI, what is this? Modeling is a very deep science. It depends upon, how you train it. It depends upon the skills of our data scientists and our engineers in-house. It also depends upon what we call eval frameworks. We have to evaluate our models and make sure it works. And then after we do all this, we have benchmarks based on the eval frameworks to make sure that everything is working. And then we don't take it still for granted. We do what is called very controlled tests, A/B tests. And when we do these A/B tests, it is opened up to a very small population and it is constantly monitored. While a lot of it is agentic, we have what is called control parameters that we look at on a regular basis. Like for example, if you see anomalous behaviors, there's always a human in the loop that will get in. So it is autonomous till it doesn't have to be, and then it becomes supervised, right? So in AI, one of the things that is not only forward-looking stuff, it's also getting the feedback and looping back which we essentially call reinforcement learning. So the model reinforces itself on a regular basis. That's a technology which is a secret sauce that, you know, any company that builds it well can actually serve its customers well through AI.
And from the consumer's point of view, so is AI actually empowering them in retail, or can it be manipulative also? I mean, things I may not actually need it, but I'm getting those suggestions and
See, the thing is, I think as far as we can tell, our intent is to use AI to help our customers find what they need in the best way possible. I'll give you an example, and also interact with their applications in a very meaningful way that they want to work for them. So today, with, you know, if you think about 5 years ago, if you had to come to an application, the only way to interact with the application was a very transactional behavior, which is you come in and you type in something, or you click on some buttons and you browse around and you find something, right? And sometimes you have to discover where to go, right? And then if you're typing something in a box, search was transactional. You know, it'll give you a one-shot response and that was it. Now, it's not only textual. You can actually talk to the application. So voice has become very mainstream. You can also use images, right? For example, you know, we were visiting, you know, one of our, you know, centers here, and, you know, one of our customers said that, hey, look, now my mom can actually order in Hindi. And the way she used to order it is she's not very educated. She's not very savvy with using these digital apps, but she knows that she can use that voice button. So an example that they gave is, you know, she's talking to the app in Hindi and say, मेरी बेटी ने जो दाल order किया वो order कर दो, right? So now how do I know that that's the right dal? Because I know the phone number, I know what the dal was ordered, and you already told me that it was your daughter. And then, you know, if it is multiple choices, I'm going to come back with a response saying that, okay, do you want tur dal or chane ka dal or whatever else? And then she can even speak back to it, and then they pick it up. So those are things that AI was never, you know, traditional technologies were never able to do. Now with voice and with understanding of voice in multiple languages, 12 Indic languages, interspersed with multiple languages like Hindi and English, it is becoming really convenient for the customer.
So this is like going to a shop, talking to a shopkeeper, okay, this is what I want, and then he will give you options.
That's right. So it's a shopping assistant now, and it mimics an offline behavior. And you don't have to say, I want this, and you get this, right? You can say, show me something like this, right? And then you enter into a conversation and you see a bunch of things, and then you can say, you know, if you're buying, I don't know, if you're buying a shoes or if you're buying some lifestyle dress, you can even ask, you know, do you have different colors? Is this waterproof? You know, all those things. So now you can have a conversation. So conversational commerce is making it heavily personalized, which is not possible before.
What you're saying, you know, a thought is coming to my mind, like, because as a consumer, I'm using, you know, retail is something where I'm constantly ordering, not only like about the groceries, but, you know, apparels or medicines, everything. And that is changing as a consumer. It's changing my expectation. I expect personalization. So from your perspective, when you see that this consumer behavior is changing, what is your advice for, you know, other industries, like, for example, who are non-retail industries? Because the same consumer, when going to other industries, they have the similar kind of expectation, and they also want to, you know, kind of do that personalization and aspect. So any advice that you see which is, you know, that other industry can learn from retail?
Look, retail, you know, search is extremely personalized now through conversational commerce. Recommendations is automatic because we learn through AI models. Now, all these are very common concepts, right? You know, payments is also another very common area that, you know, if you're engaged in any kind of commerce, or, you know, if you're going to any other place, you'll have that same experience. The ability to have multimodal conversations, it's not only text, it's also voice, or I can take a picture of this cup and say, I want to buy something like this. You know, all those things. So personalization depends upon what personalization means in that industry. And then based on that, what is the data that you have to build models to personalize for that particular industry? And then how do you expose it in the experience? That's what every company, every vertical has to think about, because whether we like it or not, consumers are going to come to, you know, expect it, because retail is leading the way in terms of showing the path for these consumers that these are all the things that are possible. And then now they're going to extrapolate into all the other verticals and say, this is what I want.
Exactly.
Mayank, it's about consumer expectations. So you've worked with organizations across various sectors. Now, has e-commerce changed what customers now expect from all other industries also?
Yeah, that is why I asked this question to Balaji, because it is like, because as a human you are changing, like what Balaji just now mentioned, that it's a very natural expectation that is coming. Whether I am buying an insurance, for example, I want the similar kind of recommendation engine which can tell me about my personalization, a kind of recommendation that comes, what should I buy, or if I have any query I need instant answers, or if I have any claim then I need that, I don't want to wait. So, and same goes in banking, whether you are interacting more on the banking side of it. So overall, this whole uh, the behavior as it is changing, there is a lot of aspect that people will expect from other industries as well, which is right now very, I will say, is on the mode of transformation. But as the expectation is changing, the industries also need to learn from the models that is being implemented in retail, and see how, what are the problem or what outcome they can achieve. We have always said that not using the model just because we want to use the AI model, but how you are relating to that model and how it fits in your particular industry, and then you are transforming it to serve your customer in a better way, or to give them a better experience.
Even the customers, I think they get used to a particular app and then they don't want to change it now because they know how to navigate through it. It's like a trading app, you get used to one app and then you're more confident in that app. Probably that's a consumer loyalty also.
That's a consumer behavior that AI can actually change, right? I mean, that's also the in for new age companies to come in and basically disrupt the market. In conversational commerce, one of the things you can actually do is you can say, hey, show me how to send, a UPI payment, or, show me how to get to my savings account, or show me how to get to this particular part of the application. And over time, that technology is coming. I'm sure there are at least 4 or 5 different startups already thinking about it. It's coming very shortly. So now suddenly what happens is, just like, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, when you're driving, you had to know every single street, where to take a right and where to take a left. Today, you don't think, because maps are just there for you. Similarly, navigating within applications can be automatically enabled by AI. So you don't have to worry about, I'm so used to using this app, so I'm going to go back to the app. You can just ask, right, and say, can you show me how to do this? And the next thing you know, it is going to take you there, or it'll just do it for you.
So now it's time for ADROSONIC Spotlight. Here I'm going to give you a real retail problem and Mayank will fix it, and then you will tell us whether that fix will fit in or not. Okay.
I hope I get the right answer.
I have the expert, I need not to worry. Yeah, go ahead.
So here's a scenario that plays out across India every festive season, and festive season is sale season. Small sellers, someone running an apparel or an electronics business out of a small town, they list their products on a large e-commerce platform. Demand suddenly spikes during a sale. They either run out of stock and lose the sale, or over-order and are left with the inventory that they cannot move for months. Now, they do not have the resources of a large brand to predict demand accurately. This happens to thousands of small sellers every season. Where does AI actually fix this?
Okay, before I answer this, I think the conversation that we were having so far, there were a lot of things that Balaji already touched base. I will just try to summarize on it. One thing which I like about what AI is really doing is it is really democratizing, and it is creating a level where a big supplier or a big firm or a small firm can play at. It is equalizing the field. And that is one of the aspect that when inside ADROSONIC, when we started this journey, this was the core focus, that we wanted to serve to the customer, whether it's a large consumer or it's a small medium enterprises. We wanted to help them through the use of technology to create a level where you can making it innovation easy and affordable. And I think that is what is happening now with AI. Now you coming to the problem. Its problem is not I don't see it's an inventory problem. I see this is more as an information problem. So you imagine that you are a big retail firm. You have a team that can do the demand forecasting. You have a team who is analyzing the data, forecasting. You have you have the capacity to invest in various softwares and all. Now I'm a small shopkeeper. I can't do all that. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm thinking, oh, last year I sold, say for example, I'm selling T-shirt. Oh, last year I sold 1,200 T-shirt in Diwali. And then I'm using my gut feeling, and I might be chatting on WhatsApp. This is what I'm doing. So I'm using completely my gut at this stage. Now you imagine that with the help of Flipkart AI, it can do all these things for me, which is available for a bigger shop. So first you just look at that. It can analyze data from various aspects. Okay, what has been my last year sales, what is the current trend going on, how many people have navigated to this kind of T-shirt, how many have them stored in their cart, or if any celebrity is wearing this kind of T-shirt, or FIFA is going on, or what the trend look like, even the weather side of it, the youth demographics on the area where I want to sell, and then based on this it can give me a recommendation. Okay, so maybe it can say that start with 1,400. I'm just giving some random number. Okay, so then, but it does not stop there. It is on the go. It is also analyzing. So, for example, if it is analyzing that my sale is going more than the demand, then it is giving me recommendation. Then I need to increase my inventory. At the same time, if the sale is lesser than what expected, then it is also giving me recommendation that maybe I need to use some promotion strategy to promote it so that the inventory goes. So I'm not saying that it's fixing the problem completely, but it is giving me information which can help me to use my human judgment to take a decision. So I'm not completely taking the decision based on my gut feeling, but I can compete with bigger bigger retail firms, because for me as a small firm, margin, I'm operating at a very thin margin, and with help of these information, if I can use my judgment and take some predictable decision, it can create a big difference. So that's where I see that technologies like AI, which is helping and bringing the players, the big players and a small player at a almost an equal level, is the game changing aspect. That is where technology is really adding value, and this AI is really adding value for everyone.
So you also help your sellers, maybe small sellers, for demand forecasting and all. I mean, do you train them? Do you have workshops? I mean, on the seller's side, how do you authenticate them and all that?
Yeah, so the seller ecosystem is as important as the consumer ecosystem, right? We operate a marketplace. We have over 1.5 million sellers and growing rapidly. So the thing is, if we were to have a human at Flipkart trying to help every one of the sellers, we will not scale. So obviously we have to automate this. Mayank was talking about a lot of intelligence embedded through data. For festive season, I plan to, I want a revenue base of, I'm just making it up, 10 crores. Okay, what should I do? So now you take a goal-based objective, and then what is happening is, in our agentic commerce, foundry of agents, one of the seller agents will pick it up and say, okay, let me analyze this a little bit. I'll come back to you. Now, maybe we know a little bit about the seller. We know what the seller is selling. We know their catalog. We know the kind of things that they've done in the past in terms of promotions or pricing. We know the kind of ads that they buy or don't buy. We know how their adjacency looks. We know what the demography of their particular items go to. We know how the demography is starting to behave. So based on that, we can say, if you want to achieve these objectives, we can give you a bunch of recommendations, right? This is the kind of things that you can buy and stock or build. This is what your target population seems to be interested in. This would be the kind of timeline in which you might want to expect to sell this. And by the way, like he said, you don't get everything right on day one. Along the way, you need to have the ability to adapt. And he talked about that when you say that, hey, things are not selling as I expect, I can actually do a promotion, right? Or I can do ads, right? Or I can change, the bundling strategy, and we can do all this in real time. And when we start doing that, now the seller has a seller assistant that is helping you run your business. and the probability that you will be able to achieve your objectives is high.
Yeah.
Now, will you achieve it 100%? It remains to be seen,
Yeah. And
right?
that's where the
But you get
human
very
judgment will
close.
come.
And sellers are very, they're very enterprising, and they're very, they're very thoughtful, because they know so much about, their intuition is also very, very good, right? So when they have somebody like a co-pilot, which is a seller agent helping them, their confidence increases, right? Because now they can see the data. And the more often you show them the data as to how they're doing the business, like maybe on an hourly basis, it gets better. In the ads business, that's how it works. I've spent crores of money and nothing is happening, and they can adjust, right, what they're doing. That's exactly what we would do for sellers. And now, like, Mayank said, it gets democratized, right? Now it depends upon the sellers and their ability to use the tools and interact with it and take decisions.
Yeah. So if I'm a small seller, imagine if this is not there, where I'm going to ask. I can't afford to hire a consultant who can drive a sales strategy for me or for my expansion. But now with the help of these tools, if I'm using my judgment, I can go and compete against, any other supplier in the market.
So there are no excuses now.
Yeah.
I mean, so just a random thing that with AI, how much percentage is AI taking decisions and how much is human judgment generally?
Look, when it comes to, on the consumer side of the house, like when we are showing you products, when you're showing you recommendations, when you're answering questions, primarily, majority of all of it is AI today. Now, when it gets into things like, credit management, when it gets into things like payments, money flows, AI can do a lot of it, but the autonomy is also kind of moderated with what we call dashboards and alerts that allow us to kind of interject and intervene and monitor it very, very accurately. Because these are very critical, mission critical areas where, you cannot bring it back, right? So you have to be very, very careful there. Also the kind of content that we show, like for example, when sellers upload things in the catalog, right? Is that content objectionable or is the content accurate? The accuracy of the content can be done by AI very well. The objectionability of the content is still subjective and depends upon your model. So we have humans in the loop to actually look for it. So we don't want bad content or content that is objectionable to the broader diaspora to be in there. And the other area is when we are thinking about returns, or when we do something called open box delivery, right? And what open box did, again, a Flipkart innovation, what we do there is we operate a marketplace, right? And sellers come to a marketplace to sell their goods. We enable it, and then the goods is fundamentally shipped, right, in the seller's box, maybe with a Flipkart wrapper to the customer.
It's all online.
Yeah, well, we manage the logistics of it. We move the stuff, but we don't open the box, right? The seller has already packed it, and it comes to you, for example, and you come home, and let's just say you're buying a mobile phone, and you're spent, I don't know, you're buying an iPhone, and you're spending 1 lakh plus rupees, right? So now you don't want to end up with something else that is not a phone.
Yeah.
So with Flipkart, what we do is we do what is called an open box delivery, and there are two things that happen. Our Wishmaster actually takes a picture of it, and you also take a look at it, and we also verify it at the point of delivery that it's the phone that you actually ordered, right? So here what happens is we actually, in addition to the machine looking for it, we also do verifications on a regular basis to make sure that our models are working.
Is this like an omni-channel strategy where offline, online is kind of, there's a balance between that, and then, maybe new dynamics coming up for this?
Well, look, it also enables the omni-channel strategy, right? So, basically, the way we think about it is, in an omni-channel strategy, what happens is you can come to us, you can order it, and then you can deliver it, right? The seller can deliver it directly, right? But it is a Flipkart brand to which the customer is coming to buy, in which case the AI agents need to be able to verify that the customers can trust this delivery mechanism. And there we bring in things like image recognition, making sure that the validation of what you bought versus what you're seeing is exactly the same.
Which was our next question, which was about getting a sense of AI architecture behind Flipkart's operations. If you can just maybe tell us few, it'll be interesting for.
Well, we develop a lot of IP here. So, but broadly speaking, at the we talk about our AI native architecture in 4 layers. The first layer is really the experiential aspect for the customer, the seller, the buyer, our internal operations, our store, warehouse managers, our key account managers, everybody else. At the experiential level, conversational commerce and content-led commerce, which automatically adjusts to who you are and showing you the right content in the experience, is a very, very important piece. So, that experiential layer is basically powered by this platform in our AI stack called the AI Mode platform. So the AI Mode platform essentially enables the experience to be natively intelligent. And it works in an explicit mode, which is you can converse with it, or it also works in an implicit mode where it's automatically showing you content that's relevant to you. That's the first layer. Now, to enable that layer, the intelligence is actually driven by the next layer, which is the agentic commerce platform. So, for example, if you're coming and searching for something, the search agent takes over. If you're asking a question about a specific product, the product Q&A agent takes over. If you want to make a payment automatically, the payment agent takes over, right? If you want to check on where my order is, the order management agent takes over. So there is an agentic layer below the experiential layer that is powering all these experiences. And I'm just giving you one sliver of what is happening here. Now, how do these agents themselves work, right? So in that agentic layer, we have agentic orchestration, a workflow orchestration, and we usually have an orchestrator agent that is orchestrating this whole, what we call this workflow. And it will know that, depending upon what you're asking, which is agent to call, right? Who to hand it over, who to take it back from, who to give it next, and how do you close this? And also moderation is important there, right? Moderating agents, yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Mayank, anything you want to ask him?
No, I think as he said, that a lot of things are, on the IP side of it, but the way it has been explained, I don't think that
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you.
To know behind the scenes and the architecture per se. So, if we talk about the road ahead, in next 3 to 5 years, the customer personalization, the hyper personalization, that is the word you used, is it going to get more? I mean, is there a limit to it, or anything which was unimaginable is now happening in terms of shopping experiences?
I think we are barely scratching the surface today. Yeah. So we are barely starting the AI journeys, right? So, what we call hyper personalization today, and what we call conversational commerce today, and what we call content-led commerce today, is just the beginning of the journey. I'll give an example. When we talk about personalization, right? One way of personalization is showing you the things that you might be interested in. And all this happened in 6 months, because what will happen in the next 5 years is, it depends upon the ingenuity of the human mind and also the machines. But just in the 6 months, what has happened is now, like for example, if you want to buy this jacket, you can come to Flipkart and very shortly you can say, can I see me wearing this jacket? And all you have to do is just upload your picture. And then you can also say that, can you show me this jacket, with me wearing it in an office environment, or walking in a park, or sitting in a car, or interacting with somebody in a coffee shop. Now imagine, that is a level of personalization that we moved just in 6 months.
This is like trial rooms here.
Yeah, it's a trial room.
Yeah.
Imagine, we would have not thought that is possible a year ago. Now this is possible. Now, the human imagination, the machinery and the models that are getting built, the kind of personalization that can be done, the kind of interactions that you can have, is just is a frontier of technology and innovation that is yet to be seen. And the way we think about it at Flipkart is, predict the future and invent it, and then see what happens.
So is that what it excites you about AI in Flipkart? I mean, if I want to ask you one thing that excites you about AI.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that excites me about Flipkart in general. One is the retail commerce industry is a very rich, area of opportunities for AI to really, make an impact on consumers, which includes the seller ecosystem. The other thing is the Flipkart culture itself is a very entrepreneurial culture. So, if you have a good idea, you'll be given a very, very fast route to bring it to fruition. So the combination of technology moving the way it is moving, working in a culture which is enabling you, is the fun.
Wow. So, Mayank, you've worked across so many industries and you've been talking about AI adoption in those companies. So, now do you think every business about the AI journey, if they want to have one lesson, so anything that comes to your mind?
So when you look at different industries, being it say entertainment or media or banking, insurance, we spoke a lot about the retail. Uh, Everywhere AI is bringing this transformation. It is bringing that speed, accuracy of decisions, giving you a lot of information, and irrespective of and he spoke about the whole architecture aspect as well. Even if you go into more regulated industries like banking or insurance, there's a lot of focus on building their own small language models, and creating a layers of agents wherever it can be automated. So the whole transformation is being seen across the industry. One thing which is again very common, and which every industry is looking at is, or wherever there is a success. So you see that everyone wants to use this technology and to gain the output, but the success is where people understand the problem first. So the whole aspect of where to use AI, and in the consumer industry like retail, you have a lot of use cases that is pretty much visible because you are interacting with masses. But for any industry to get AI success, the first thing is that what problem you are going to solve. It's not only about there's a cool technologies, so let's start using it. And that's where the concept of SLM, the small language model, is getting very, being a lot of use in the enterprise side of it. Because that allows you to create your own model which understand your terminologies, your jargons, and you can create it in a way which understand your consumers. So first thing is that identification of the problem, and then see how AI is solving it. So the success lies when you are using AI for the outcome, and the outcome and why you are using it. And the other aspect of where to use that human judgment. So what Balaji mentioned, that there are certain things which can be automated, certain things where you are using this whole agentic layer, but then where you have to have a human that is continuously looking into the feedback, or doing those checks. So it's more about creating that balance of how you use the AI along with AI, so along with humans. So if I have to summarize, the problem, what outcome you want to achieve, then how AI can impact that. But at the same time, you also know that how far AI can go, so that the trust remains the key. Because whether it's bank, insurance, retail, ultimately you're dealing with humans, and the relationship will only grow, the business will only grow when AI is working or helping you to increase the trust. So there, when the trust comes in, human comes in loop. So it's a very exciting time where we just have to blend the use of technology along with humans, and those who will do it right, they will be the game changer, and they will be riding the success of AI.
So basically, either you change with times or you stay behind. That's how the success will be rated. So, one last question. You were telling us about the sellers hackathon. So I'm actually interested to know that hackathons happening nowadays in India or abroad are more about AI. What is this hackathon all about? I mean, of course, you're taking care of your consumers as well as sellers on the, keeping them in equal balance and promoting them. So just tell us about that, and then we'll end the show.
Well, the seller hackathon is about basically engaging with our sellers in the field, in their environment, with their specific problems, right? You can bring in sellers, you can have a conference, you can synthesize that information, and you can take the top 10, 50 things, right? But there's nothing like going into a seller's environment, working with them, understanding how they do business, understanding their surroundings, understanding their limitations, understanding their skill sets, understanding their constraints, understanding their strengths, and then being able to work with them and say, okay, let's solve 3 of your teething problems together and let's see where it goes. And then we spread out, and then we achieve 2 things. One is we have helped them solve some problems very materially in a very short amount of time, 2 to 3 days. And then the learnings that we bring back that will enhance our products in a material way that helps the overall ecosystem is the real power.
Because ultimately going directly to the place where those who are facing the problem, that's the best place to understand and improve.
You have to be in the trenches,
Yeah.
right? So that's the only way to learn.
An innovative way of, finding out what this issue
Again,
is
it's all about the speed, what he said. So, you are analyzing what people are expecting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the show, and it was a very good discussion, and I'm looking forward to more things about Flipkart, the new technologies. It'll be, looking forward to another show. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you, Sonia.
So here's what I'm taking from today. What AI is doing now is making sure that trust is rewarded with better prices, faster deliveries, and a system that, at its best, actually understands what people need. So this has been TOI AIQ Talks with our knowledge partner ADROSONIC. The TOI AI Quotient Awards are coming this September, and nominations are now open. If your organization is genuinely building with AI, solving real problems for real customers, we want to put a spotlight on you. Head to the AIQ Awards microsite and nominate today. We will see you in the next episode.